Oh, hey there, box haters. Today we're gonna have a Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy review. But first, let's talk about this thing beside me is my rating system, and it is that I take 5 categories depending on the subject in hand, and then rate every one of them out of 10, then combine them together to get something out of 50. After all that shit jam before the review, I wanna clarify I haven't played the original 3 games on PS1, and the only 2 Crash games I actually played were a bit of the 2 PS2 games. So of course I will, for the most part, gonna rate this game as if it's new. Also, the short answer to the title's question is technically no, but technically yes, to understand the story and the characters better. And I'm here to answer a more important question, being, should you play the Insane Trilogy before the 4th game because they're fun, or are the people reviewing them full of nostalgia goggles and they're not that good, and should you skip them entirely and play the original PS1 versions or the fully new 4th game? And that's what I'm trying to answer throughout the video. So let's start with... Phew, we're finally out of the glitch realm. Well, looks like we're hungry, guys. We gotta find food. Where do I find it? Huh, who's that guy there? Oh, so there's apples inside these boxes? Dude, bumper fruits, what is that? You stupid. Anyway, so it would like spin like him? I guess so. Anyway. And my first point is the gameplay, and I'm gonna talk about things like the level design, the moveset, etc. Anyway, let's start with the level design, and it's pretty good, and I love a lot of things about it, like there is 2D and linear 3D levels that somehow work perfectly together, and the level design at every stage feels different from the last, and I love that throughout every game here, the levels gets harder and harder every time, instead of always being easy or having an out of nowhere spike in difficulty. And there's a lot of fun mechanics that need very high Rick and Morty-esque IQ. Like having to time your jumps in slippery climb, or using this fun jet ski, or heck, just everything from Future Tense or the lab being hard but fair. And there's a lot more fun mechanics, just like there's a bit of bad mechanics too, such as the bee level, with the absurdly fast bees chasing you, or the pixel perfect green boxes sections, or the level that force you to backtrack if you wanna get 100%, and the levels that something chasing you into the screen, because the last thing you would want in a platformer is seeing the freaking platforms, of course. Or be having level with all 3 of these trades. Yay! Another positive thing is the moveset, and I love it, the way you acquire it in 3 by defeating any world's boss, and after defeating the game, you will be sliding, double jumping, and spinning in the air like there's no tomorrow. And in 2, it's good, and in 1, I could understand not having them because it wasn't in the original or whatever, but I wish they would have it as an option, because going from 3 to 1 feels jarring, but that's just a nitpick and not a problem. But an actual problem, kinda, is the collision, because it has a problem close to Frogger on PS2. In that game you would pray to God that you land on the platform and not clip through it, and in this game there's something close to it, and it doesn't affect most levels that much, but there's levels that are really affected by it, like Rain Nation with the slippery rotating platforms, or in Temple Ruins where you're gonna have to take a leap of faith every time in these sections because the place is dark and you can't see your shadow, and especially in the high route, cause it got it all. Slippery platforms, undefeatable enemies, and the turtles that you have to use to even progress that have a big chance of yeeting you out of the stage for no reason, that if you don't use the rope glitch, which I actually found myself in Google and realized I'm not special, props to your patience. Anywho, the gameplay gets a 7 out of 10. But what I talked about are the positives and negatives of the platforming gameplay, but a mixed bag in that same gameplay are And my second point is the gameplay styles. And as I said, it's a mixed bag. Because in concept, the good thing about it is that the players could have a fun break from the platforming levels. And it keeps the game from being stale. And for Naughty Dog, especially in the third game, by that point, they're probably out of platforming ideas. It's good filler, and some of them are pretty fun, such as the bike. And it's a race with 8 computers, and its controls, in my opinion, are responsive and great. And in it, you have 2 objectives. Be a bit slower and try to break all the boxes for the gem, or try to be faster and get first place for the crystals. Or if you're skilled enough, you can actually do them both at the same time, and that's a cool thing. Or the plane. The main objective is to up the air balloons with Cortex advertisement, which is kinda rude because you can't blame anyone for a bit of advertising, just like you can't blame me for wanting you to like and subscribe to the video so I could make $2 a month, which in Egyptian is 1 million, probably. While you also have planes attacking you, and you could attack them before they do that, or avoid them. It's really fun and hectic, especially with the clock on. But the bad thing about it is the developers don't have enough time to flesh it out, and if it's badly executed, it really shows. Like in the Space and Coco Sea levels. In them, the level design is okay at best, but the real problem is the controls. They feel so weird and unresponsive, and they're so slippery that they give the snow levels a run for their money, because a small button click or flicker on the stick, which kinda rhymes, could either make you fly to the moon and die accidentally, or do absolutely nothing. And overall, they're not that fun. They're better off not even being the game in the first place. And there's other gameplay styles, and I'm not gonna waste your time off because I already got my point across. Like Crash underwater, Crash riding some animal, but before that, giving me the weird look. Oh no. Okay, let's just learn from the master again. Oh, so he just slides? Easy. And my third point is the graphics / animation / art style. And my opinion on it is that it's not bad like in Crash of the Titans. In that game, the world and the characters, they just... my eyes. And it's not amazing. The best way I could describe it is that it's mixed, in my opinion. Remember that, of course, because characters themselves, like the bosses, are pretty good. They have lively animations and amazing near perfect recreations of the original cartoony designs, with some better than others, I just say that. And graphically, in the Insane Trilogy, it's great, with good lighting and realistic textures and other elite gamer words that I will never hear about because I really don't care, because they're just gonna be outdated in like 5 or 10 years, like PS2 and PS3 games. What I care about is the art style. And for me personally, the way the game looks kinda feels off. Artistically, of course. Like, it's too perfect for a Crash game. It's too generic, especially with some enemies in the third, second, and especially first game. Like generic Bat 69, generic Turtles 96, and generic Snake 66. Because thank God I delayed the production of this video to August, I would have wasted 10 minutes just trying to explain with illustrations what kind of unique art style I would want from a Crash game. But I don't have to do that because Crash 4 exists, and it's what I would want. Cartoony and unique art style, an imperfect world, the enemies look a lot less generic. Crash looks more cute and odd and weird realistic, and overall, for me at least, it looks more appealing and different from the other games. Anywho, Crash Insane Trilogy, because the graphics and main characters are good, but the world and most enemies look generic and boring, it gets a 6.5. But some things that I would like to talk about together, because I only have 5 segments, are, well, wasn't that scary? You didn't have to scream about it, but I won't annoy you and respect your decision, my friend. And that's why I'm using a chainsaw. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. Huh? Yeah. What is happening? And my fourth-ish points are the story and bosses. And because they're different things, I'll talk about them individually. Anyway, let's start with the story. And I like how they have all 4 games connected together by ending cutscenes. And I also like how they remade most of these cutscenes too, with more fluid animations, more lively voice acting, and with a lot of little details, with some being in the background, like seeing the eyes of the bosses at the starting cutscene, and some making them less awkward, like Crash going 180 degrees on this bird's neck, making it funny instead of them going off screen awkwardly, staring into your soul. And some actually make it worse, like the game over screen and Crash 3's first cutscene, because they only turn the lighting up, but it turns them from menacing and mysterious to less menacing, and of course the mandatory woman fights back for like 2 seconds as an empowering moment until the bot remembers she has to be captured. And
If I had a nickel for every time
I saw it in a remake of a 90s children's property.
I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
And most cutscenes are about the bosses, so let's talk about them. Anyway, because there are PS1 bosses, that means all of them but Papu Papu are wait until hit point arrives kind of bosses. And some of them are bad, like Riparu or Tiny Tiger in 3, with you either having to jump on these bombs while he has predictable patterns, or literally walk in circles and stand in this glitch corner. Yes, I have no shame. But nearly all others do it pretty well, like Dangaryle with you having to dodge his air rockets, then he breaks the crystal walls with his flame charger, and then go in, hit him, and get out quickly. And you can either wait a lot and risk him repeating the process without you attacking him, or do it as quick as possible and risk not being able to escape in time. So you have to find a middle ground. And some of them use different gameplay styles, like an engine in Crash 2 and 3, with you having to either throw up Wumpa fruits at him and dodging his lasers and falling platforms, or you're literally on a cool ass heck lane. And the final bosses are all excellent, but of course I won't spoil the surprises. Anywho, with the story having a 4 out of 5 and the bosses a 4 out of 5, this segment gets a 8 out of 10. But who cares about all that when you're a completionist? What my inner goblin really wants are... Okay, this is the last time I'm spying on him. Oh, so he uses a bazooka. Let's steal it. Okay, how do we use this thing? And my final point is the collectibles. And in every game, the collectibles are the clear and color gems, but the way you get them is slightly different in every game. Like in Crash 1, most, if not all, the clear gems are by destroying every box in a stage. It's pretty fun and easy to understand. But the big problem with it isn't this, and to an extent the other 2 games, is that you have to have a colored gem or even multiple to get in a secret area or a bonus stage so you can get the clear gems. And worse, it's not in a small number of stages, but more than half of them. And even worse, most of the colored gems are in the late game, so you're guaranteed for most stages with this problem to repeat them, and it honestly feels like padding. And yes, there's a colored gem that needs a different colored gem in a later stage to get it. And the way you get them in Crash 1 is by destroying all the boxes and not dying once, which is really difficult but fair. And the mildly infuriating problem with it is that every time you die, you have to wait, then go to the menu screen, then exit, then click on the stage, then have another loading screen, then play. And with the more difficult stages, it's really annoying. I wish there was only one mini loading screen, also known as a restart button. And in the time trial, they already have it in there. But whatever, next game. And in Crash 2 and 3, with the clear gems, there's still some destroy all the boxes gems within a smaller instant, same problem. But now there's a lot more fun specific challenge gems, like trying to get to a part of a stage without dying to find a box free bonus path containing only that gem. Or in the middle of a stage, you get in 1 minute to finish it quickly. And other fun challenges. And the only way, except the internet, to know what fun challenge is in the stage is by reading the loading screens. But they end too fast that you have to repeat them to finish reading the hint. But I'm not gonna complain about short loading screens anytime soon. I just wish they had them outside of the loading screens. And the color gems are all challenges in Crash 3 and in Crash 2, with some of them being fun, but others taking the padding I told you about to another level by having you complete a stage to progress, then in a random stage with no indications or hints have a weird way to get to that first stage. Then after doing that, you have to do another unhinted challenge, sometimes even having to backtrack, and it's impossible without an internet guide. And the time trials that were only in Crash 3 is in all 3 games in the remake. And I never played it, but from what I understand from Gregor's video, I'll link it in the description, where he completed all time trials in all Crash games on the Platinum, Crash 2 and especially on art designed around it. And you have to do weird and in normal gameplay not needed skips. And the difference between all gold and all platinum is that it turns from 100% to 101%, which for a completionist, 101 is the real 100%. Also the friends we made along the way. Anyway, cause some gems are fun and simple to get, but most require so much backtracking and internet research in all 3 games, and it's so annoying and it's just full of padding. This gets a 4 out of 10. Out. Ooh, Wampa fruits. Hi there, hop in. But before that, just try this thing. Yeah, it's delicious. Hop in now. Okay, how do we go up the tower? Yeah, you're right, let's use the bazooka. So, with the gameplay having a 7 out of 10, the gameplay style is a 5.5 out of 10, the art style a 6.5 out of 10, the bosses / story an 8 out of 10, and the collectables a 4 out of 10, this game gets a 31 out of 50. So that was my review. Wait, where are they? That doesn't matter. So that was my review of Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. And my final thoughts are that this collection is really good. It's a steal for the price you're paying for it, especially on sale. It's 100% the definitive version of these heavily flawed but still great and classic games. And even though it has all the problems I told you about in the review, and the fun gameplay and characters easily make up for it. And even though Crash 4 is a month away from the recording of this part of the video, if it turns out bad, then of course play this instead. And if it turns out good, then still play this, if just to understand the evolution of this gaming franchise. If not, then play it just for the fun and tough gameplay. So yeah, anyway, I'm still really hungry. So let's just eat some sweet Wampa fruits. Huh? Huh? Shh.